Hello, welcome to Death is My Life with your hostess, Jolene. In my intro, I described my involvement with death since childhood and never having been shielded from it. However, later in life, it became quite apparent to me that this was not the cultural norm. The first time I remember being exposed to the secrecy surrounding death was at a visit to the pediatrician with my oldest daughter, who was only a year or so old at the time. She was looking at a curled up spider under the table. The doctor told her the spider was sleeping. I thought this was wildly inappropriate for a medical provider to instill the propaganda upon my impressionable child that death is not to be discussed. It is so common within our society to want to disguise our language surrounding death by saying things like, he's in a better place, he's gone, he had the C word. How did death become so taboo? Our ancestors did not beat around the bush with the topic of death as we do. Death was seen as a spiritual rite of passage. In many Eastern countries today, death is still viewed this way and honored. In Western countries, however, death has become viewed as a medical event. This shift came about in the early 1800s due to more access to hospitals and advances in medical technology. And by the 1980s, hospital deaths became the norm, replacing home deaths. About a decade ago, when I first started work as a hospice nurse, the word hospice was stigmatized. We were often brought in with the agreement that we had to use syntactic variants when discussing who we were and what we do, like saying comfort care instead of hospice. Families are just trying to shield their loved ones from the word that was stigmatized so horribly that some people refused the services altogether. The common belief was, and this belief still kind of lingers today, that agreeing to hospice will kill you. We will discuss hospice in depth later during another episode, but I felt compelled to mention that these beliefs and fears run deep. I do see a shift in the direction of open dialogue, acceptance of death as a natural part of life cycles, and an increase of home death. But we still have a long way to go. I want to end today's short podcast episode with a talk about the tarot card death. We see this in movies in Hollywood all over the place, and it's supposed to be fear-invoking, just like our common societal beliefs about death. But here is the excerpt from a tarot card guidebook. The 13th card is death. Change is here. The death of something old heralds the birth of something new. This is the natural transit to the next stage of being, a change of form in consciousness. This card shows a major phase in your life is ending. You just need to close one door in order to open a new one. You are deeply connected to your higher self now. In order to grow, we must let go of things that are not serving us. Unlikely that this card actually represents physical death. Typically, it implies an end, possibly of a relationship or an interest, and therefore implies an increased sense of self-awareness. See you next time.